Pauper to the People is brought to you by ABU Games. You can visit them online at abugames.com or through their bots, the Card Store and the Card Store 2. You can find us each week on MTGOStrat.com and MTGCast.com. This is Pauper to the People, episode 120. My name is Chris, and with me is Nate.
Hello.
Peter.
Hello.
And special guest, Dan.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dan. So we've talked a lot over email correspondence and comments and YouTube videos and stuff, but I think this might be the actual first time that we've actually talked face-to-face over Skype, as it were.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. So Will from MTGOStrat sent me a quick email. He said, "Have fun trying to understand Dan."
It's not that hard.
Yeah, they told me they would get the translator for the next episode of Competitive Paupercast.
Oh man, whatever. So yeah, Dan's a host along with Will and Chris Weaver of Competitive Paupercast on MTGOStrat. So we'll have them on here. We got a couple.
Sorry, we're only two episodes deep so far, so I don't even know if we're a thing yet, but we're trying.
Oh, so you guys find it easy to find subject matter yet? Well, that'll change in a few episodes.
Nate, don't give away the fact that we're struggling to the new guy, okay?
Just say, let him be bushy-eyed and bushy-tailed and look at him going, "We can do this. It can be a thing," until the stark reality hits him. But I think people do a good job. Don't worry about that.
Episode 42, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really just kidding.
Well,
so,
I'm still wide-eyed and like optimistic.
Yes.
But I have to tell you a Pauper to the People story.
Yes, absolutely.
Last year I got married, and I went on a 1-month honeymoon. I went to Paris, and I went to Scotland, I went to Bulgaria, and my wife is a late sleeper. And fortunately for me, I'm an early morning person, as this is 5:30 a.m. right now. And in the mornings of the honeymoon, I was like grinding daily events in Pauper before, and I had received the blue-black trinket control deck from my pro friend. So I was playtesting trinket control while she was sleeping every morning, and I was listening to every single episode of Pauper to the People. So I managed to do like 3 episodes today, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know.
These guys are so cool, and now I'm here. It's great.
I don't know whether to feel flattered or kind of like, what were you doing? No.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, yeah, thank you.
I think 4 hours to kill every morning, so.
For sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. And Dan also does the, I'm going to blank on it, the Podcast of the Month video up on YouTube, where he just kind of goes over the reasonings behind his personal top 10 podcasts of the month that are Magic related. And so I mean, MTGOStrat, not to blow smoke up your butt or anything, but I obviously talk a lot about MTGOStrat, but I mean, the amount of content you guys put out is awesome, and the fact that so much of it is Pauper related is just really refreshing to see. Like I've said, it's kind of like the channel Fireball of Pauper, and it's great to see. It's great to have a representative on from that. We had Will on, now we're having you on, so it's awesome.
Thanks. I hear you're having Chris on soon too.
Yeah, couple of weeks from now we're gonna have Chris on, so we're gonna get the trifecta of the new podcast guys on too. So.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we're gonna get Maddie back on. He's gonna have a couple of weeks off, so he's overdue. And then we'll just leave Grant, who's super busy with work and stuff.
One more thing about the top 10 Magic podcasts. It's not a monthly thing. I've avoided making it monthly because it's bi or tri-monthly. I think the next one will be in September. It's a jury now. We're 4 members. Me, Will, Matti, and Tangent for the September episode.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to make it less personal and more more real.
Yeah, we're having you on here to try and bolster our ratings on that list. Especially since Matty doesn't vote for us because he feels he's too close to it.
Oh.
You have been doing well on the list.
Yes, we have, and I do appreciate it. So, but as far as news goes, I wanted to do a quick report on that Walla Walla Standard Pauper paper event that I went to last weekend.
What deck did you play anyways, out of curiosity?
I played the Gruul deck.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got worked.
Oh, what deck did you go up against?
I went up against the first round. I went up against a red-white Aboros tokens deck.
Ooh.
Which when you're not counting on against going up against that, I had done a lot of extensive testing against the online metagame. Not against people that are a little more casual than that, and most of the people there were just kind of like, yeah, I just looked at what was there and I threw something together based off of some synergies I saw, which tokens is a big thing.
Yeah.
So and tokens go down a charge and win.
Yeah, exactly. And me without an electrickery in my sideboard.
Oh, no, sir, no.
Yeah, so that was pretty brutal. So round 2, I lost that one handily. Round 2, I'm trying to remember. Round 2, I got spanked again, and I think that was. I feel bad I'm not going to remember, but it was another beating. But round 3, I actually managed to win. I went up against a Jund build that was really similar to ours, but he splashed some black for like Mark of the Vampire and that type of thing.
Oh.
To pretty good effect. I mean, you Mark of the Vampire the goblin that blows himself up. Or no, when he dies, he does 1 damage to
Arsonist?
Arsonist, the one with the Hedron on his head. So throw Mark of the Vampire on Arsonist, swing in. I'm not going to block it because I don't want it to die and kill one of my small dudes. And then he throws a Rebel Belt Maka into the graveyard and just makes it that much bigger. So it was pretty effective. That was a straight up brawl. I managed to win that one, but it was a fight to do that. So
it seems like Mark of the Vampire is a great card and all, but it seems like a weird color to splash for.
Yeah, considering the casting cost.
It's a pretty large commitment, and it sets you up to get 2 for 1 real big. But it is basically the standard Pauper Armadillo Cloak.
Yeah, absolutely. So and there were a couple of other decks. There was a Grixis, kind of like the blue-red, but there was some Grixis splashed into it too. Round 2, I remember now. I went up against Izzet and got worked.
Oh,
it was the same thing, It's like I play something, he counters it. I play something, he counters it. He burns me. So yeah, but I mean, it was good. It was, and I didn't go to that thing to win. Obviously, I went and played well. I played to the best of my abilities, but it was about the community and about getting to do that type of thing that was really important to me, and so it was a lot of fun. Matt, the gentleman that I've met a couple of times now, the one who kind of introduced me to the Walla Walla Pauper community that they had there, he was playing a deck. I didn't get to see all of it in action, but he had some M14 stuff in there, and he was doing some Butcher Ghoul and Blood Baron and Traitorous Blood and Bloodthrown Vampire type of thing.
Oh.
Basically, if it had blood in the title. But he was doing a lot of like sacrifice stuff to make Blood Baron bigger. Take control of it, sack it.
Yeah.
Sack your own stuff to bring other stuff back. So that was really cool. I wrote down some of the stuff for that. I want to try and get that one built.
So you didn't see any Flickergate decks?
Not specifically, at least not any that I came up against.
And no offense to any Flickergate deck players out there, but my god, do I hate that deck.
I'm one.
I was gonna say, I know you play it a lot, Dan, and I can't blame you, but my god, that just playing against that is so damn frustrating. It's like banging your head on while it's going, we're going to get there eventually. One of us will. Let's see.
Yeah, when I'm doing videos, I often, in other formats, it's like half an hour, 40 minutes, but I know when I bring out Flickergate, it'll be a 1-hour video every time.
Yeah, definitely.
You're hurting for content or something, bring out the Flick.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know can't remember the last time, but I think I've said it before. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I finished a match, win or lose, against Flickergate, where they had more than a minute of playtime left.
Yeah, I can't wait for Innistrad to rotate out.
You
Yeah, I
know,
think that
brother.
will be very healthy for standard Pauper when Ghostly Flicker leaves.
So the gentleman who worked with Matt to put it on was named Pat, and he's a teacher at the school there. We had it at the Walla Walla Alternative High School, so it was really cool to see all of these. Like they had a recording studio there. There was a lot of focus on artwork, and so it was neat to meet some of the kids and to just kind of see, you know, all of the creativity that was on display there. And, you know, it's something that they want to get going on a regular basis, and I'm definitely in for next time. I think it would actually be pretty cool to try and find, you know, 7 other guys here and go up against 8 guys up there and make it some sort of team type of tournament or whatever, what you will. But no, it was fun, and it's when you spend so much time with Magic playing it online, there's just some really wacky stuff that you have to readjust to when you're playing in paper. 60-card deck is pretty unwieldy when you're not used to it.
Just fumbling it.
Especially with new sleeves. I mean, I'd shuffle in cards and go spitting out everywhere. And, you know, I just look like an idiot. They're like, you do a show? You can't even hold the cards.
Shut up.
So it was a lot of fun. And I wanted to thank everyone that was there, that attended, and, you know, Matt and Pat both for setting it up and inviting me along, and I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if you can get that paper community going, because I think a lot of people that play Pauper online, that just play Pauper online, they don't realize the fun that you can get out of paper Pauper, because there's stuff you can do in paper Pauper that you just can't do online.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to play that mono. I brought that mono black pimped out all foreign cards with the Hymn to Torok on it, and I didn't get a chance to actually play it, but everyone kind of looked at it and was like, holy cow. So, yeah, I'm a baller. No, not really.
Be jealous.
No, it was fun. So yeah, as far as other news, there really hasn't been a whole lot.
Basically, tournament-wise, I still haven't gotten in touch with Long Time Gone. We've been missing each other. Hopefully soon. I would like some feedback by people, what kind of tournament they want to see, whether they want to see a standard or classic.
My vote's for
Yeah,
standard.
or even
I'll just say that
if
right
we
now.
get enough standard with no flicker, with no ghostly flicker, we'll just ban it ourselves.
They can play it, I guess. It's just, but who knows? By the time we get set up, it'll rotate out anyway, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, so
You know,
that's kind of
if we
where
get
I'm
enough
at with
interest,
that.
if we get enough interest, we could maybe see, you know, if enough people wanted to do classic and enough people wanted to do standard.
Well,
maybe
from what I gathered from Long Time, that we could do pretty much anything. So if we really wanted to, we could run both. But I think I'm pretty sure the first thing he's going to say that if we go through Gathering, we're going to have to provide the prize support for that tournament.
Oh, that's easy
Oh, yeah.
enough.
So
perfectly acceptable.
They
Pauper
appear
prizes.
to have a couple of bot chains that provide prizes for them, so there might be one.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to.
Long time
sorry, go ahead.
gone. Long time gone. Really nice guy. He kicked my ass yesterday in modern. I played a modern event on Gathering, and he really crushed me.
Yeah, and for those that may not know, the reason why we're doing or haven't heard the last episodes, the reason why we're doing online this year for Pauper to the People, we will be, is because Chris can't make it to Minnesota this year.
Blame it on me.
So, yeah, it's Chris's fault. No, just kidding.
I had to go and get a new job that was more career-oriented.
How dare you move up in life?
Yeah. No, it's so basically we're just going to do this one online, and we'll think of doing something, and we'll figure next year out, because I have some other ideas that I have some different ideas for next year, but we'll discuss that later.
What was really interesting about playing that in paper is you're talking to people, and quite a few of them don't really play online. And so they're like, you know, what's the classic metagame like? And I said, well, mono blue fairies. And explain. It's like, well, you got Delver, you've got, and then you start listing off. It's like, even though they're not that familiar with all of the cards' history, all of the cards all the way back, it's like you start mentioning Daze and Counterspell and Snap, and oh, geez, yeah, even I know what those are. It's like, yeah, you throw those are all commons, man.
And they make a gross deck when they're together.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have any other news or anything?
Nothing much, just the norm. EDH.
I'm
playing the brew.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to mention a big thing on MTGOStrat yesterday. G084, with the support of eHustle, posted an article called pretty much detailing the state of the Pauper tournament metagame, and it's the best formulation of the temporal fissure problem right now. So why temporal fissure is bad for Pauper and why something should be done about it. It's a very good read.
Oh, are you talking about the 6-month test article?
Yes.
Good article. I do suggest everyone read that if you get the opportunity to.
Yeah, it's called At a Crossroads, Pauper's 6-month experiment. So, yeah, it's good reading. But I mean, there's a bunch of good reading on MTGOStrat. Go to MTGOStrat. Read this.
Go there.
Read everything.
Read a book. That's what you do.
All right. Well, one of the main reasons we had Dan on, aside from actually getting to meet and speak with him a little more personally, is to talk about the Pauper Gauntlet. Speaking of MTGOStrat things that are happening, and if you're not familiar with it, it is, well, Dan, why don't you go ahead and explain it?
All right. The Pauper Gauntlet. When I started the MagicGatheringStrat, the YouTube channel, I wanted to do spiky things. I'm a spike. I wanted to do coverage of tournaments and tournament matchups. I wanted to cover all the big Pauper matchups. So I started doing videos, and I had like, is it Post versus Stompy? And people were like, And then I started doing some rogue stuff, and then I had like weird decks like Pauper Pink Pants versus Delver, and there were lots and lots of views. And I realized that, okay, people just... The thing that people want most on YouTube is crazy brews in Pauper. So I figured, okay, can I do something that sort of is still spiky in some sense, so I'm interested in it, and it also covers all these brews. So I figured, okay, what if I let the Pauper decks run through the tournament practice room, pretty much trying to survive. So the Pauper Gauntlet is a race between Pauper decks in the tournament practice room against random opponents, just trying to survive as long as possible. So there will be a starting field of somewhere between, it's 32 right now, and I will cap it at 100 decks, probably less. And on August the 12th, they will start playing in the tournament practice room, one round at a time. Any deck that loses gets eliminated. And in the end, probably by the end of the year, just one deck will remain.
Pretty excellent idea. And I'm reading your article right now, and if you need to borrow dazes, I can let you borrow some days.
Oh, sweet. One important thing is that this is not sort of a single elimination bracket competition. It's just a race in the tournament practice room, because I also got bored with people in the tournament practice room that quit on you, and I have to delete the videos, etc. So now it's just the decks will try to win in the tournament practice room any way possible. So if the opponent quits and leaves, it's a win, and the deck goes on to the next round, which will make the competition somewhat random and help the maybe funkier brews to get far into the competition.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And was someone going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
To make the gauntlet interesting, then I have a lot of Pauper brewers sending me decks all the time, and I've started to say no, but now I'm saying yes, and I want people to submit in the pure MTGO article, which you will link to in the show notes. I hope. You can submit if you sign up for a pure MTGO account and make a comment in the article, you can submit decks. Other people's decks that you want to see, or your own decks. And right now, as I said, there are 32 decks in the Gauntlet, so there's plenty of space for more decks. And what I want from the decks is hopefully, preferably, I would want them to be to have daily event results to prove that they are real decks, because I've already seen some decks that are super bad. If there is community interest in the decks, if there is an article somewhere, if people are talking about the deck, that's good. If I have already played the deck on the YouTube channel, so I have it ready. I've realized now it's maybe 30 to 60 minutes of work just to put together a deck and make sure I have it for the Gauntlet. So if I already have it, it's an advantage. And if the deck is very unique, if it's something I haven't seen yet before, then I'm very impressed.
Yeah. And what's nice about it too is not only is it kind of a way to see, you know, quote unquote, which deck is the best, but it's just also a nice video primer for all of the different types of decks that you can see in the format, which is really great as well.
Yep, I think there will be some sweet path to victory articles by the end of the Gauntlet. You can see some funky brew winning 10 matches in a row. That's my vision.
I've seen something goofy go into town.
But throwing that all... Go ahead.
Also, to increase interest, I am in the Pure MTG article going live on August the 12th, where the competitors will be presented. I am giving away a playset of Steam Wents to the person that can guess the winning deck in the Gauntlet. So everybody with a Pure MTGO account gets one guess in the August 12th article, and the one who guesses the deck that wins first gets the Steam Wents.
That's a pretty sweet incentive.
Yeah, it is.
It just takes a couple of minutes to create an account on Pure MTGO, so if you haven't already done so, get in there and get ready to throw in your prediction for who you think is going to win. Now,
you can't do it
Dan,
before August the 12th, though.
Yes. So, Dan, your prediction, do you have any idea who you think might be the deck that'll take it?
Delver would be my first guess.
Yeah.
Sadly. Sorry.
In the bet already? Or...
Come again, I didn't hear you.
Did someone actually put a bet in for Temporal Fissure in there yet? Or no?
You can't put in bets before August the 12th.
Oh.
And there are now 3 Temporal Fissure decks in the Gauntlet already.
Wow.
Familiar Storm, Simic Stormpost, and Monoblow Stormpost.
Yeah. So it'll be nice too to see, Delver's another good example of that too, is that in reality you call a deck Delver or you call a deck, Mono Blue Fairies, but there are some subtle differences to a couple of different types of them, whether it's more of a fish deck or whether it's more of a control deck. So that'll be interesting to kind of see those different interactions. So, Dan thinks that Delver's going to win.
I'm going to have to agree with Dan because Delver's just a good deck.
Nate, you're not going to throw your hat in for Mono Black Control?
Nope. I love the deck, but Delver's just too good. It works too well.
There is a thing that could stop Delver, actually. Delver, if you played a lot of Delver, you know that Delver has a lot of difficulties and bad matchups that are not normally in the daily events. That's why MBC is thriving right now, because you can build a mono black control deck that wrecks Delver and Elves. And so what will happen in the tournament practice room right now, I predict, is that there will be Slivers everywhere. Yeah, because of Predatory Sliver. And I don't know how good the Delver matchup is, but the Sliver deck has some of the characteristics of the decks that Delver has difficulty for. But I haven't tested it yet.
I guess I have experiences facing down Delver with Slivers in the past, and it can be done. It's just you gotta know what Slivers to stop.
The thing is, though, now that they have 12 Lords, that makes things a lot harder. Even if you do counter the ones, chances are they still have the one they need.
Well, yeah, it's just like I said.
More lords than I have counter spells.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you get the right slivers, you can actually go. But then again, a lot of your Delver players, I've seen a few Delver players that if they get buckled down by stress with too much aggro, they just automatically don't play it out. They'll just concede and go into the next one and try to get out faster. And in most cases, that's the bad way to go about that matchup. If you're playing Delver and you're going against Slivers, the best thing to do is just play it out. Because I don't know how many times when I was facing down a Sliver deck that I was down to 1 life and I came back and won. So, but yeah,
that's what Delver does.
Yeah. But I mean, that's my experiences doing that matchup. So,
cool. Well, anything else that you wanted to bring up with the Pauper Gauntlet, Dan?
I think that's the main. That's what it is. Do you have any questions?
Excuse me. The questions are, I guess, it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's work I'm already doing pretty much. So
yeah, absolutely. And so it's not a discouraging comment, and it's definitely not a, I guess discouraging. But it was just more like, I think it's a commendable thing to do, and it's something that I think can be a benefit. Not only for an entertainment factor, but like I said, for an educational factor as well. And I'm just really interested to see how everything turns out. Because my first initial thought is just like what everyone else is saying, is that Delver's going to be the one that takes it, and I hope I'm proven wrong. And it's one of those things where you can have the best deck, the quote unquote best deck, but it just has the one matchup where it's just a dog to, and that's just the way it went as far as the pairings went, and it ended up losing. So it's really interesting because it's going to be, how do I want to word this? It's going to be almost subjective as much as it is objective information, and it's more, that's where the entertainment factor comes in.
Yeah, I think that even if Delver has the biggest chance to win, it's no greater than 5% in a field of maybe 60, 70 decks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One more thing about the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
On August the 18th, it's a Sunday, I will be streaming Tier 1 Day. So I will play all the Tier 1 decks on stream at twitch.com/MagicGatheringStrat. So I will be sitting there all day in Swedish daytime and play Tier 1 decks in the Gauntlet.
Excellent.
So everybody's welcome to watch. I would be very confused by the end, because I haven't streamed more than 4 hours in a row before.
I'll make sure we put that link up to the Twitch channel as well.
Thanks.
How long do you anticipate that you think it would take for this to run its course? Do you have a rough estimate on that?
Yes, I have. My ambition is to announce the winner before New Year, pretty much. Okay. And I think that it will take into December. If there are 100 decks, it's about 200, 250 matches. And I've already done 1,000 videos for this year. So yeah, if you go onto YouTube, MagicGatheringStrat, and what's funny is, because I follow you guys on Twitter as well, it's just video. Okay, they just, Dan just got done playing. Here's 8 more videos. It's pretty cool. So. Yeah, it's we are now 8 different video makers on the channel, but I still make up 70% of the videos. I think 75 perhaps.
Excellent. So wow, I can't talk. To take a step back from the Pauper Gauntlet and just to maybe talk about MTGOStrat as a whole, are there any other, maybe article series or video series that we can kind of be looking forward to seeing in the near future?
I'm trying to make David Schaffer make a book about Pauper. Actually, I think he is our best writer, and his article series Thoughtcast is perhaps the best Pauper writing there is. And the fact that he managed to deliver such high quality articles every week is quite impressive. So shout out to David.
Absolutely. As someone who tries to produce weekly content, I understand full well how difficult that can be at times. So it's refreshing to hear and read about.
And one thing we've been trying to do with MTGOStrat is to allow new writers to publicity and try out new writers. So you'll find that the quality of writing will be all over the place some of the time, but we're trying to see what sticks. And we want to be liberal. We might split the site actually into 2 different sections with like sort of regular content and sort of casual or trial content in another section.
Reader submitted, that type of thing.
We're also trying to get more podcasts actually to host. We have the capacity to host more. We are right now hosting you guys and the competitive Paupercast, but we could do at least 3 more.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Anyone out there has any ideas for a podcast? Talk to the guys at MTGOStrat. And, I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. If you had questions about what it takes to do one, I'm always available, and I love answering those types of questions. So feel free to ask me if you had any questions or ideas. So.
Well, thanks for all your help, by the way, Chris. You have been a great resource when we started up this podcast.
It's my pleasure. It's kind of daunting when you start because there are so many different ways you could go about doing it, and then you just kind of have to narrow it down to the way that works best for everyone and stick to it. But I mean, I've enjoyed the 2 episodes so far. I'm looking forward to hearing more. So
we didn't do an episode yesterday because of the audio problems, so we're trying to work out the audio. We'll be testing this week. Yeah,
it's tough.
Audio is always a problem.
Between Skype and having people across the entire world. I mean, Skype's a wonderful resource to be able to talk to people, like we're talking to you.
Yeah.
But man, if someone's internet connection is a little bit slower or someone's microphone is acting up, there's just so many ways that it can just wreck what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, and then I also see Team DBC recruiting.
Yeah, Team DBC doing Battle with Commons is a Pauper clan that has been around forever, used to contain all the great Pauper players. And they are, I've been in the clan since over a year. And the clan is sort of getting back on its feet, and it wants to find more grinders. They are all daily event players in the clan. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily Pauper. They are a lot of them are in the top 150 of the Magic Online players. So there is a constant competition going on between to make it into the yearly championship of Magic Online. And I think there's at least 6 guys from the clan in the top 150. So if you're a daily events player, or if you want to be a daily events player and are really serious about spiky grinding, contact JSiri84 on Magic Online. Or me.
Yep, JSIRI84 on MTGO, or Dan is at SISSELA on MTGO. And
actually, it's better to contact me on YouTube than on Magic Online. If I am online, I'm filming 90% of the time and I can't talk.
If you see Dan's online, leave him the hell alone. Okay?
You can actually, another great place to talk to me is the Pauper to the People forums.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw yesterday that I am now the person with the most posts on the forum that is not a host of the show.
I feel bad sometimes because it's like between editing the show and trying to research content every week, it's like, man, I can't get on the forums as much as I want to. So I really rely on the community members and people like you, Dan, to keep those threads going. So I'm actually really appreciative of that.
Actually, your forum and Matty's great moderation is the reason that MTGOStrat doesn't have a forum. Because I personally see no use for it because you have such an excellent forum, and it's all about Pauper. So
we need to just combine the resources and just find some way to let you guys get onto our forum and do that stuff, because I have absolutely no problem with it.
Didn't we have that discussion a while ago when we said we were okay with it?
Yeah, and then life got in the way.
Okay, I remember something about that, and I remember responding to it.
Yeah.
So
we just need to, find time to do it and just make it both the Pauper to the people and the MTGOStrat.
Yeah.
Forums.
Will is in charge of all those discussions from my side, because I used him to do all the boring administration stuff so I can do videos.
Dan uses Will. Understood. So let's take a 90-degree turn here really quick. I wanted to actually ask you guys what it is that you've been playing over the past week, just maybe to get a feel how it goes. Obviously, I've been playing Gruul. It's both online and offline. So
I've been playing the brew, actually, because I've had some time after the kiddos go to sleep. Everyone goes to sleep because I've been awake. So I've been playing the July brew. I am 6-2 with it right now. I've been having a few problems with some of the cards, though. The Akarashas don't work as well as I thought, as well as what me and Peter talked about. But at first they looked like they would work, but now they really don't. Just been kind of fiddling around with that, and then still been playing my EDH every week, and I made a new EDH deck with Thrawn. So that's about all I've really been up to.
Excellent. How about you, Peter?
Well, been still doing some the last bit of grinding before the week's up or the month's up for this last brew, which has been going pretty well. And then whenever I get burnt out on that, I switch over to a mono green Stompy for a standard Pauper.
Sure. And Dan, I'm sure you've been playing a wide variety of stuff.
Yes, I have. But I've been trying to avoid Pauper to get fired up for the Gauntlet. So I've been doing a lot of Modern, and I'm looking for deck in Modern to play. So that has been like the ongoing quest on the YouTube channel this week, and I've been crushed with every deck I've played, pretty much.
Yeah. I just stuck with the Living End deck anytime I feel like I want to do Modern, but
I play Grix Twin. I play Modern in paper, and I have a Grix Twin deck that I have, which just does a Splinter Twin combo with just massive control. Yeah. It's a pretty fun deck to play. It works.
And speaking brew of the month, Avery, who is one of the people who by far grinds out a lot with it, he made a post on the 23rd, so about a week ago, that he's 20-14 with the deck and that he's burned out.
I don't
he's a trooper.
It's an easy deck to get burned out with, because it gets to a point where you just can't concede, because if you concede, your opponent's going to win, so you got to play it out. And it seems like you get to a point where your opponent just can't do anything anymore. Yeah. So all you can do is sit and wait for him to cast a spell to counter it, to stop it and extort it, or whatever.
Yeah. It's also one of those things where, sometimes this happens when we do the Brew of the Month stuff, where there is a better version of our deck, and it's the one that runs Flicker, and it's the one that does the other stuff that we were trying to avoid. So ultimately, I can understand burnout with that when you're trying to, when I'm not playing the most optimal cards because I'm actively trying to avoid that strategy.
Yeah.
To our defense, though, our deck does pretty dang well. And like I said, I've had a discussion with a couple of people debating what's the better extort. If you're going to make it a extort deck, what's the better one to go blue-white or black-white? So I think we've done our job. But it's definitely the game. It's definitely, if you're sitting down and playing our brew, it's not going to be a quick game usually.
No.
And so you're going to be in there for the long haul.
In fact, I had a few. I think my last two matches I had the board locked down right away, and the player knew I had the board locked down right away, so he was purposely not playing anything, trying to get me to give up, even though I was ahead. Because everything he'd play, I'd either lock it down or I'd counter it or I'd bounce it or something. And the guy just got to the point where he's like, well, fine, if you're going to stop everything I do, I'm just going to run your clock down. So he's just trying to be a complete
sad
dick.
as it is.
Because, that's what the deck does. Once you get the lock on your opponent, they can't do anything, and the only thing they can really do is draw and start discarding stuff out of their hand and make you time out.
Yeah, well, that's when you just tell them, hey, man, I will reimburse you for the tickets that it cost you to play this right now. If you just, it didn't cost anything to play this in tournament practice or just for fun. Yeah, just don't be a jerk.
But yeah, because and that night I had a few matches where they're sitting here saying that the deck I was playing was complete douche tactics, and I'm like, well, it's blue-white.
It's blue-white control. It's what blue-white control has always done. Stabilize everything? Anything gonna happen? No? Okay. Now we're gonna start killing you.
It just really blows when you get them down to that last 3. I've had this happen once or twice. You get the opponent down to that 3 or 4 life, and you just want one card because they've stopped playing cards because they know they can't do anything. So you're like hoping to draw a card that you can play, like a creature or something, just to extort and end the game. And then you get a long line of like counter spells and just lockdown stuff, and it's like, are you serious? I have to lock my own board down now? Just to win?
I've also started teaching my daughter Joelle how to play Magic.
Nice.
Fun.
Oh, so we went out and bought her one of the toolkits and helped her open it up. And it was the 2014 edition, so it had a pack of 2014, a pack of 2013, a pack of Return to Ravnica, and a pack of Gatecrash. So I was opening up the cards and looking at them with her, and in the Return to Ravnica pack, there was a Deathrite Shaman.
Nice.
Just like, Daddy's just going to take that one, okay, sweetie?
Now, Daddy loves you, but Daddy's also kind of greedy, so Daddy's just going to go ahead and take this.
These cards aren't going to last very long, so I will go ahead and hold on to this.
Make sure it stays good.
$10 one, yes.
Can I mention something about the brew of the month?
Absolutely.
First, I think it was a great brew of the month, and I think it is the better extort deck compared to black-white extort deck, and I think that's because the way Magic is designed, you see it very clearly in Classic Pauper. The blue is the strongest color because the things that defeats blue are not present at common level. So going blue in Standard Pauper is almost always the correct decision. A fun thing with the brew was that it really didn't stand up very well to mono blue flyers, which was sort of the point of the deck.
Oops.
Yeah.
But it was a sweet brew. And I want to first shout out to Avery61 for all the good work he does with the brew of the month. And then I want to thank you guys for the segment. It's been very fun the last 3 months. And I think this month shows that it's clearly better when it's Standard Pauper than Classic Pauper.
Oh,
so completely agreed.
Yeah, the Classic
I
Pauper...
prefer Standard Pauper brew. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll wait.
Yeah, I was done. Just Standard Pauper brews, much preferable over Classic brews.
Yeah. I'd actually almost thought about, doing it again with Standard Pauper, especially because we've got M14 out now, and I think it'd be nice to get the jump on that.
I was say I'm game for that.
I am too.
I think what Nate was trying to say is also kind of points out to the article too that me and Dan both mentioned at the beginning of the show is the Classic Pauper metagame is well defined at this point, and like we've said, it's hard to find and take a chip at going, okay, what kind of deck would break this metagame? But with what we have right now, it's really tough to do that. And unless we get a big new toy to play with, I don't see any kind of brews really standing out to make anything. Sure, you'll get a brew that will take someone by surprise for a while, but it's not going to be consistent enough to actually warrant the headache it's going to cause, unfortunately, for the testing.
Yeah. That's true too. And the other point is the fact that, say for instance, we get some sort of, like in Theros block, we get some sort of killer blue, common that is absolutely incredible. Kind of like Delver. It's not going to create a new deck. What it's going to do is it's going to get crammed into the existing blue deck and just make that deck that much more formidable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is usually what ends up happening, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
Or it will revive an old archetype like green-white auras in Return to Ravnica and the Cyclops, the Delver Fiend deck with the Cyclops.
Yeah. My favorite deck, by the way. I love Delver Fiend.
Which isn't a good or a bad thing. It's just it's just one of the things that you learn to deal with when you play in a Legacy Eternal format. Which is Classic Pauper. So. Yeah, we can focus on brewing Standard Pauper again next week. I think that'd be great.
And I'm willing to admit that playing this month's Brew of the Month has made me have a different opinion of Standard Pauper. I actually enjoy it a lot more than Classic now.
Good. Yeah, I've been a fan of it since we started doing it.
Since we have a guest here, Dan, do you have any suggestions what you'd like to see for the next month's brew? While we have you here.
You caught me on the spot there. Maybe something black.
Something black. Ooh,
something black.
I think that's a good call.
Mono black control. Try making it work.
No, it doesn't have to be mono black. I don't know if that can be done. If you can do that, it's amazing. But something black.
Go ahead, just Crypt Incursion all day. Oh, wait, Blue Black Mill's got that already. Damn.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking you do Rakdos and you start getting into some of those, like traders, the filch person's card and then sack it, that type of stuff.
Well, we already knew what one of the new decks to beat could be eventually, but because I know there's a couple people out there already who have one or two sliver brews in mind as I've talked to people. I know I have my own, but it'll be interesting to see how those play out actually.
5-color slivers, baby.
Unfortunately, the only blue and black slivers are at rare level, so maybe.
Well, that's your counter spells and.
No, but yeah, I've seen people who are either going to go. It sounds like, from what I've gathered from people, it's either going to be Naya or green-white.
Yeah.
Stick to the classic green-white colors.
Well, if you look at it, the deck's going to be pretty dang strong because Innistrad's still going to be in there for a while, so they're going to have your lords. You're going to have Hive Stirrings, which will be 2
travel prep.
You'll have travel prep still. And so it's going to have a lot of the tools. It won't be as good as the classic build, mind you, but it'll still have a fair number of the tools. But like I said, the only thing I can see going on is them splashing for, the Haste Sliver or First Strike Sliver in red, or both, I don't remember. And then you also get your complement of burn spells, which, in my opinion, red does one of the best jobs at on-board control, as opposed to white, where pacifisms are clearly showing their weakness, especially in the wake of Flicker decks.
Yeah.
What I still think will be interesting is to see how much of the classic Slivers deck gets boosted by the new Slivers, especially if you see in a matchup someone trying to run, like the old school Sliver build where it was all the classic Slivers against a new Sliver build, because then your creatures, your Slivers aren't pumping his, but his are pumping yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things you're going to see in one of the first changes you're going to see in the classic list is you're not going to see people running Metallic Sliver anymore. Simply put, just because the reason why Metallic Sliver there is it's 1/1 that gets buffed. But if they could replace it with an extra Lord, full well that's what they're going to do. They're going to find a way to fit all 4 Predator Slivers in there. It's just Metallic Sliver and probably either, is there another 2-drop sliver or another Bear Sliver they use besides Spinneret, or is that the only one?
Well, maybe Virulent Sliver gets the cut.
It's hard to say though, because Virulent Sliver's still really good against the Cloud
Yeah,
Pulse
Virulent
matchup.
Sliver is really good card.
You have to play Virulent pretty much. There are 3 placing Sliver stick in the dailies of the 27th and the 28th. Tarkan Mag, the classic Delver player, is playing Slivers right now.
I can actually.
We have an article on MTGOStrat about the Slivers decks. And one big thing we'll see from Predator Sliver is I think there will be a mono-green Slivers deck. Basically a Stompy Slivers deck possible. And that will finally get the advantage of having one color, because having just being monocolored is a really big advantage in the dailies.
That's
and now
true.
Slivers can do it.
Yeah, and also with the slivers, I can also see some people like completely. I can see the classic sliver deck almost that just cutting any old sliver you possibly can to replace it with a new one.
I can say yes and no, but because there's a bunch of really good old ones still too.
Yeah, like you can't get rid of the vigilance. So isn't there a vigilance one?
The vigilance one's the one that's coming out.
Yeah, the vigilance.
That's the other one that people are trying to find a way to get in because, yeah, there's a lot of slivers to work with. Like even Sidewinder's amazing just because flanking stacks, virulent stacks, all of your lords stacks. So it's the only the first one that comes to mind are just your filler ones like Metallic Sliver, and then if for some reason you're running Gem Hide, they'll replace that one too.
Yeah. Well, in this build that Tarkin Mag is running, because he's actually doing Naya, I understand the reason for having the Gem Hide Sliver in there, but I think that if you do, especially if you're going mono or even down to 2-color, that might be one you could cut a couple back out of.
Or actually, I should have thought of this sooner. They might actually just be cutting the Travel Preps or Thriller the Hunts finally. Because the reason why Travel Prep made its way into the deck too is because they were looking for another Lord.
Okay.
And I think the other thing that's going to be really helpful is one of the biggest problems with Slivers, at least from my experience, is it's a deck that doesn't mulligan well. Just because they are the antithesis of overextension. So if you don't have all the things you need in your hand and be able to just go bam, 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 and play them out turn after turn, the deck tends to flop, it seems. And now getting, again, that whole extra set of Lords and then some more extra utility ones, as in like the Vigilance ones, which will allow them to be even more aggressive than they already are, I can see it making a swing up, or an upswing in the ratings, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be 3 to 4 weeks with a lot of slivers everywhere. Because it will be the new shiny, the new Nivix Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, as far as metagame's concerned, it's pretty standard.
All blue everywhere.
Yeah,
no, lots of Stompy.
Oh yeah, Stompy too.
Lots and lots and lots of Stompy. There's actually 2 separate sliver builds in this.
I think there was one in the daily on the 27th and 2 on the 28th, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's 2 on the 28th, so I'll link that really quick.
People were hating hard on Stompy, so there were main deck standard bears, which made Stompy lose the #1 spot in the meta. Life is hard when you're a Stompy player and people main deck standard bear.
It's just one of those moments where you have to sit there and look at it and going, that happened? Son of a...
Well, then you also go, I knew it was going to happen. The gravy train has run its course.
and then you just have to play blue like everyone else.
Yep, exactly.
Gotta go pull my Delver deck again.
Dust it off.
What are you talking about, dust it off? You only set it aside for maybe a week at most.
Yeah. You guys want to do Heroes of the Web?
Sure. What do we got this time? Can I take a guess on that's from MTG Salvation, or do we got something else this time?
It is.
Oh!
It is. But did you know that Heroes of the Web is the segment of the show where we take a look at some of the more interesting characters that inhabit the internet?
We do? I just thought they were the cesspool of the world.
Yeah, well, no, they're interesting.
Ah, okay. We're being courteous this time, we're saying.
We are.
Yeah, this one strikes close to home.
Yeah. Does the prize support at this local game store sound fair? And so, basically, I won't read the whole thing because there's a couple of paragraphs here, but this guy's saying that the people who win get too much in the way of prizes. $15. First place gets 9 packs. Second place gets 6 packs. Third place gets 4. Everyone else gets a prize pack or a pity pack, and at the end of the draft, they all redraft the rares and the foils. So basically now you have a situation where first place not only gets you 9 packs as a prize, but also gets the best card pulled in the entire pod.
Ugh.
So, seen a bunch of mythics and stuff, and so you basically get 80 plus of value from a $15 draft. If you don't place, you usually just get a bunch of crap rares. So, He's saying that this is a pretty bad deal.
It is a bad deal.
Everyone's saying, actually, it's not a bad deal if you win.
Oh, no, it's not a bad deal if you win, but if you're a regular player, I can guarantee you you're eventually going to tick that customer base off, and they're not coming back.
Yeah. And that's basically it. There wasn't a whole lot of really...
Not really.
Yeah.
Oh, no interesting hate, no fan fiction.
Dude.
No, I was kind of looking. I mean, I wanted to keep the segment in because it's tradition at this point, gentlemen.
I'm usually scared by all the crazy posts you find. You have a talent for finding them.
Nah, he just doesn't go past the second page of MTG Salvation. Usually finds something.
I try to avoid that site.
You're a smart man.
You have to really pick at the scab and try and find the stuff. It's a sad commentary on the MTG community that there are selfish skilled players promoting redrafting to remove pack variants and take good money cards away from new players. And then just eye roll. So when stores charge newbies £5 a week to lose at F&M while the better players scoop up all the winnings, it's just as bad, right? If you aren't ready for tournament play, don't play in tournaments.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess like I say, when I said I hit this hits close to home is like when the dugout was still open, I deal with this issue. Like I could come in on a Friday because like I always work Fridays and Sundays. I'd come in on Friday and they'd always have the complaints left from the last week's tournaments because some weeks I didn't run tournaments after run tournaments during the weekend, and it's like, oh right, here's the code. It's like get the notes, and it's like before even looking at it, it's like prize support, and that's all anyone ever complains about. You're always going to tick somebody off when it comes to running a store and making your prize support. You always have one or two people that are never going to be happy, but redrafting, I think that goes beyond the pale. I think that's just a bad decision to make.
With redrafting, do you mean giving the best rare to the number one player?
Yeah, that's
usually what they end up doing is after everything's said and done and everyone's opened their packs and played, all of the foils and the rares and the mythics get thrown back into the prize pool, and then the top people just kind of take turns picking the ones they want.
Yeah, I think that's a huge no-no. I mean, you're going to if you want to make your competitive or spiky player base happy, well, you're going to make them happy because they're going to win all the time. Most of the time, they're in the top. But your people who are just showing up to draft and stuff like that, you're not making them happy in the least bit. That casual player is not happy. I think the prize support for the packs is well enough. What they're doing for prize support, that's fine. That's perfect. But redrafting...
I mean, that's part of the fun is you might get, it's like the lottery aspect of it is, and there's skill in that as well. It's like one of the was it M12 or M11? I can't remember the last time it was printed, but it was a core set draft. And I opened my pack up and there was a foil Baneslayer Angel in it.
Because I'm 12.
It's like, well, I'm not going to not take that. I mean, even though I'm not the biggest fan of playing, white.
Yeah.
But then it would suck, to be like, if they had mentioned ahead of time, we're going to rare draft, we're going to redraft, after everything's said and done. Okay, I would understand that. I wouldn't like it, but I'd understand that. But I mean, like a 12 or 13-year-old kid that pops that open and sees that and takes it, if he's just there hanging out with, dad or older brother or just with some friends and he's not going to win, that sucks for him.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. That's why I think it's a bad idea. Because if that player's getting like what did the beginning of the post said? They get like 9 booster packs if they win.
And then that on top of it?
Yeah.
And that on top of it, that's completely... I mean, he's getting 9 prize packs. I think that's more than enough to make first place happy. He doesn't need any more.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is with the whole redraft thing, when they do that with the rares, of course everyone that didn't win is getting screwed because if you're if you win first place in draft, most people, in my experience, is the ones that get first, second, third, fourth place in drafts and sealeds. These are people that religiously study the spoilers and go ahead of time and look and practice draft with the draft generators, and they'll even go home with their friends and everyone will buy 3 booster packs and they'll draft it home. And just these people study drafting. That's all they do. So they're always going to get in the top 4. And if you redraft and you're making everyone open their packs, and say I open a Amazing Money card and I have to redraft that, you know you're not getting that card back. Those top players are going to take those every single time. Yep. That's completely unfair.
I actually went to my first paper draft this side of the millennium. Did my first paper tournament in 12 years at the local store Arcane in Stockholm. And the only prize they had was a redraft. So there were no boosters, nothing, just a redraft. That was
and that's and I understand that if you're not giving extra packs out for prize support, then something like a redraft is acceptable in that situation, because if someone's paying $15 for a tournament and they're not getting extra packs, that would be a case where that would come into play. But the winner's already getting 9 booster packs.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy in that thread that actually said we don't give prizes. I mean, you pay $5 for 3 boosters and you get to keep the cards you drafted, and it's like, okay, that's a little expensive for a booster pack, but honestly, it's not unreasonable for 3 packs of Magic and a night of fun.
Yeah, time to rare draft in that case.
Yeah, and I guess with what we did at the dugout is we did the rule on draft in any sealed event. There was no pity packs because you got 3 booster packs basically, or 6 booster packs if it's a sealed. And we usually did the top, if we had a big crowd, then it was top 8. But if you're doing 8-man pods, then top 4 get prize support. And it was always what it was. I can't remember what off the top of my head. I can't remember the numbers were. But if it's a pod, it's basically a tournament in a box. Because if you're in an 8-man pod, that entire booster box is enough to draft and then have your prize support all together, and you're good with the packs that way. But it's, I don't know, it's, I guess having a winner get that much and then redrafting is a little over the top. That's just bad for business.
Yep. So it wasn't funny, but it was a point that needed to be said, I guess. So we covered DBC. Now, Dan, you also wanted to mention that competitive Paupercast. You have a competitor?
I think I just wanted to mention that competitive Paupercast is now competing with you guys. But we are not really competing, and we are pretty cooperating quite well, I think.
Yeah, and we are well in opposite ends of the spectrum. You guys are the very spiky, how to do things, how to win, and we're over here like, hey.
So this is a thing. Look at that. And then they get to investigate it and see whether it worked or not.
You're listening to the early morning show. PTTP. With your host Chris and the Beef.
Chris, I don't think that's going to work unless you have the wacky soundboard to go with everything.
Whoa! We're all wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Not that it really matters. You can't see us anyways, but oh yeah!
All right, that's gonna be... that was terrible. That wasn't even funny. It was just cringeworthy.
Yep.
So, comments, emails, and feedback. Comments, emails, and feedback.
Feedback.
Adam Tights writes, what's the date for the Minnesota meetup in St. Cloud going to be? I don't know if you guys are still going to maybe try and do something anyway, but we're running with we're gonna try and get a meetup online.
We're gonna do the meetup online. It's not happening in Minnesota this year because Chris is busy. So, but I do have my group of friends here in St. Cloud. If you are interested in starting a group of people who just a group, a Magic group, and do our own tournaments with Pauper. Different Pauper formats. We're going to do some standard Paupers, some classic Pauper, some Pauper EDH tournaments, Pauper cube drafts, and we're gonna just gonna buy the packs and do our own little prize support thing on our own without sanctioning or anything. Just kind of get our own thing going. So
you started talking Pauper like that. I flash back to Forrest Gump. Where it's like shrimp scampi.
Basically, we're gonna.
That, I guess.
Yeah, basically what I'm aiming to do anyway, and there's quite a few people. There's a few people interested in this. We're just gonna get together, a group of us friends, invite only, and just play some Pauper and kind of just hang out and have fun. I mean, that's the whole point. I still have to narrow it down or get it nailed down to what the plan's going to be, but it's just something that it got brought up this weekend because on Friday night I had a bunch of friends over and we were hanging around the fire just chilling, and somebody had mentioned running tournaments at my house and just playing Pauper here, kind of doing our own, kind of developing our own meta game within our group, and just kind of go that route. And I really like the idea. I have the space to do it, and I was thinking, why not? So it's kind of where we're going with that. But I don't know where Adam is in Minnesota, but it comes down to it, he's more than welcome to join us. So you can contact me anytime once I get it nailed down. It's just in St. Cloud. I don't know how far he is away, but it'd be a weekend thing, so I can help him out on a room at a motel if he needs it. So
cool. You gonna invite that one friend, the really competitive friend, who most of the time he's cool, but every once in a while you play a game and he just kind of unloads and becomes an asshole. You gonna invite that guy?
Yeah.
You know that guy, Peter?
Yeah, right? I'm gonna invite that guy. Yeah, I'm gonna invite him. He's a friend. We'll just have to have Nerf guns on hand or something like that.
There's one in every play group. That's why.
I understand. I wouldn't want to ruin your fun. I'll just hang out over here.
Whatever you are. Okay, Michael Sheritz writes. So are you guys familiar with Day9.tv? I think he does StarCraft, if I remember correctly. But he also did he was the one that was the StarCraft guy that kind of got into Magic, if I remember correctly. Anyway, he has a Fun Day Monday where he gives viewers various restrictions and then commentates on the games that are submitted. Do you guys think something like that would work for Pauper to the People? It can't be visual, but I think it'd be a good way to get some interesting content. For example, have people only drop 3 lands the whole game, or put random movie quotes in chat every time they attack. Then they email you the match number to watch. Plus, people can always follow along with your comments if you add the match numbers to the show notes. I think it's a cool idea.
It'd be fun.
Just kind of have listeners that played, submit, matches to us, and then we commentate over them just to kind of see what's going on.
We should wrestling commentate over them like WWE does. I get to be the bad guy.
So he says, anyway, just a random brainstorm that I thought you would enjoy. That's cool. We'll have to try something like that. So, because it's fun enough to play a match and then commentate over top of it, but with restrictions and stuff designed to make it goofy, that could be really fun. Just for some entertainment stuff. And he says, P.S. Have you guys heard from Mikey lately? Who's Mikey?
Oh, Mikey, that guy, he's off. He's married. He's got 3 kids. Working his ass off. Just kidding. He's being Mikey and he's just doing his thing.
In all seriousness, no, he's around, and as far as I know, he's doing good. But yeah. You know who's Mikey.
I missed the 5 minutes of hate.
Yeah, He's gonna write me now and be like, "Dude, really? You had to say you didn't know who I was." It's like it was a joke, man.
As I say, in the comment section of this, he's gonna load up an audio file of his 5 minutes of hate on this.
Yeah. You know what I hate is Pauper to the people.
Those sons of bitch.
And the number one reason, Chris. No, as far as I know, he's doing good. It's not like we hate each other or anything. So
He's just doing his own thing, and he's doing pretty good at what he's doing on his own. So last I heard.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You guys have anything else to add, or should I put a bow on it?
no, that's about it. Put a bow on it.
I have one thing.
Okay.
Regarding Paper Pauper, I'm in Sweden, as you might know, and there is a Paper Pauper community in Poland that's like 2,000 kilometers to the south. If there is anyone who plays Paper Pauper in sort of Northern Europe, let me know. I can help you get publicity, and I would love to support Paper Pauper communities in Northern Europe. Just a shout out.
Be fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so envious of you guys that actually get to play Paper Pauper tournaments.
Oh, it's fun.
It's definitely not a thing over here.
Oh, it is great because people find out if you're playing Mono Black Control, people find out what Hem to Turok is, and Hem to Turok just pisses everybody off.
Turn
Because
two.
the only
There's nothing like turn 4 top decking your opponent.
No, there isn't. Having been able to experience that.
What deck are you
I
playing?
mean-
I don't know. I don't have a hand. I forgot what's in my deck at this point.
The sleeves are blue, but sometimes I do that to throw people off. Yeah, I'm in the initial phases of trying to get a solid paper group going, and it's not easy, but it's worthwhile if you can get it going. So I mean, that's the first step, is just to throw it out there.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So paupertothepeople@gmail.com, paupertothepeople.proboards.com, facebook.com/paupertothepeople. Dan, how can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube on MagicGatheringStrat or on MTGOStrat.com.
Excellent. You can find us online. I'm GrayCatRecords. Nate is nyukon, and Peter is Midnight03. And you can also find 3 out of the 4 of us on Twitter. I'm at CM Plummer, Nate's at Nathan Younkin, and Dan is
Dan Horning.
Yes. And you can also follow at MTG. Is it MTGOStrat on Twitter, or is it MTGOStrat?
It's both MagicGatheringStrat and MTGOStrat.
Yep. So, and they post up on Twitter every time there's a new article, or a new video, or any sort of new content. So that's a good way to keep abreast of the things. And that's the show, gentlemen.
That is a show.
Dan, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a morning person, but I still really appreciate you getting up early to come on with us.
It was fun.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to finally get to actually talk directly to you.
Yeah.
You want to do us a favor?
I love talking to you guys.
Want us to sign off?
We didn't rehearse this.
I know, and I'm putting it on the spot, but I'd love to hear him.
All right, Dan, send us off.
What do I do?
Anything.
You just say until next week. This is Dan.
Until next week, this is Dan.
I'm Chris.
This is Nate.
This is Peter. God dang.
You're the one that screwed it up too, and you're the one that said it. Just go ahead and do it.
Whatever you gotta say there, Ned. I don't even care.
And this is Pauper to the People.
Det här blev jättebra, grabbar.